Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. It is my hope and prayer that you are enjoying your weekend. Mine is marvelous, I thank God. Over time immemorial in history, the church and the clergy have always stood firm, have always been at the forefront in fighting for the emancipation and the liberation of the oppressed citizens. In 1980s in the United States of America, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. stood firm and fought for the rights of the Negroes when the blacks were being oppressed. He fought for their freedom to mingle with the whites, because then there were streets that were demarcated for the whites and the blacks were not allowed to set foot. There were some laws that you could not have a seat while a white is standing in public vehicles. And I remember one day some brave lady, Rosa Parks, stood firm and decided not to leave a seat for a white, and that became a very serious matter. In South Africa, Desmond Tutu stood firm to be counted because he joined hands in fighting for the liberation of their people. Of course, later Desmond Tutu was awarded, but Martin Luther King's met with his life. He paid by his blood. In Kenya, when people were fighting for the liberation, the second liberation, when people were being oppressed and we were fighting for the removal of the one-party state, the clergy like Bishop Njoya, Father Wamugunda, Ndingi Mwana Anzeki stood firm against the Moi regime. And they were sometimes beaten. They faced the cruel hand of the Nyayo regime. And this has continued over the years. Of course, they teamed up with the opposition, the human rights defenders, and we are where we are today because of the sweat and the blood of some Kenyans who decided to stand firm when the idea was very unpopular, when the cruel hand of the government, the oppressive government, was raging. In the era where we are today, it is very different. It is like we are facing a direct opposite. The church is a shadow of its former self, because instead of standing firm to tell the government where it is wrong, they have teamed up. In fact, they have earned the name M-Pesa bishops because they have been pocketed by this oppressive regime. But there is a clergy that is not giving them a space to breathe. In fact, let me make a disclaimer. If there is one church that has always stood firm and spoken against the tyrannical and rules that are oppressive, it is the Catholic Church. When the government came up with the idea of LGBTQ, the idea of the GMO, the other churches were silent, but the Catholic Church stood firm and condemned this. Of course, they teamed up with the farmers, the opposition. Of course, they teamed up with the opposition, the farmers, and the human rights defenders. And of course, the GMO thing, I think, is vanishing slowly. There is another clergy from the Catholic. This guy came to Kenya 41 years ago. He is an Irish, and he was sent on a missionary work. He came here in the 1980s when Kanu regime was very oppressive, and he has seen it all. So yesterday, he read in on the debate about the Finance Bill 2023. You all know that this is the talk in town, where the government wants to introduce unpopular bills. They want to increase to 16% value-added tax on fuel products. And you all know that this is going to really result in the high cost of living that is already unbearable. They also want to tax beauty products. They also want to force civil servants and all Kenyans who are working to be deducted 3%. And this has really been, it has really elicited negative, different opinions. Those who are government crusaders are saying that this bill has come at the right time because people have to pay taxes. But the opponents of the bill are claiming that Kenyans have not refused to pay taxes. In fact, Kenyans have been paying taxes. But Kenyans are facing one of the toughest times in life, in history, and they don't want to be deducted. They're saying that this bill is ill-motivated. One thing that has really caught the attention of everyone is the manner in which the government is driving in this bill. They are forcing it down the throats of people. They have detached themselves and they don't want to listen to what Kenyans are saying. The other day, the Civil Servants Union went to the streets to protest this bill. And many people are saying that the administration, the regime, does not want to listen to the citizens, because the citizens are saying they don't want to be taxed. There's a lot of corruption that they feel that even if they are taxed, they are not going to see value for their money. They are also wondering, in the case of 3% deduction to the affordable housing, they are wondering how safe their money is gonna be. And they're saying that they can never be forced to own houses because some are not treating this as a priority. So the manner in which the government is pushing this is one thing. The other day, William Ruto said that people must be ready to pay taxes. And our deputy president, as usual, said that we should not even imagine that we will oppose this bill. He's saying that they have the numbers in parliament and it will pass by force. He's saying that the opposition does not have the numbers. So according to him, this is a contest between the government and the opposition. He does not see the reality that Kenyans are suffering. They removed all the subsidies on fuel, subsidies on unga, subsidies on electricity. And the citizens are really crying foul. But according to the deputy president, he's saying that this is like a contest between Ruto camp and Raila camp. And he's saying with a lot of pride that they are going to pass this bill whether the opposition likes it or not. In fact, he's saying people can go back to the streets carrying sufurias, but at the end of the day, they will pass it because they have the numbers. Remember, these people already had a vision to oppress Kenyans. The first thing they did when they took oath of office was to buy the members of parliament that are allied to Azimio, because they knew that such a time would come. They already had a very crafted, dirty plans to ensure that our lives are made difficult. So Father Gabriel listened to Rigathi Gachagua, listened to William Samoei Ruto, and he went to Twitter. Of course, he's been a human rights defender, human rights crusader, and he said that, I want to quote him, that no need to waste time rejecting finance bill as it will be passed. He was quoting Rigathi Gachagua. And he said, just a very simple quote, that pride and arrogance comes before a fall. He didn't want to say very many things. He listened to Rigathi Gachagua, he listened to William Ruto, he has listened to people like Kimani Chungwa, people like Ndindi Nyoro. He has listened to the group, the leaders and the members of parliament who are supporting this bill. And he said one thing: pride and arrogance comes before a fall. We have seen leaders who thought that they were bigger than the nation. They thought that they could do anything, anytime. But when the citizens united together, they stopped the regime with their oppressive ideas. And with this message, I want to believe that Father Gabriel was just telling Kenyans, because if he says that pride comes before a fall, the government cannot fall if the people have not decided that they want the government to fall. Wananchi lazima waungane pamoja. They have to go back to the streets. I have always said that there is no government that will listen to the people when they are sitting on a table. Governments don't listen to people when they are on a round table. This is the time for Raila Odinga to rally the support and go to the streets. In fact, people are very ready. I have seen them going to the streets even without waiting for any politician. And so this is a warning to this regime. They may think that they have it all. They may think that they have the numbers. But I want to say this, they might have the numbers in parliament. But remember, in the constitution, the will of the people shall always override the will of a few selfish individuals. And this warning must be taken very seriously. He is telling them that it is only a matter of time. And before he knows it, this government will fall. It is not any better than Northern Sudan. And I know there are several issues that contributed to the fall of such regimes. This regime will fall because Kenyans are feeling the pain, the heat, and the pangs of hunger, the pangs of drought. We have gangs taking over, the bandits, because the government is unable to take care of its people. They took oath to protect this constitution. They are now mutilating this constitution. They took oath of office and promised that they were going to take care of the hustlers. They are now oppressing the hustlers. And the hustlers will one day rise up under one slogan, Unga Revolution. And this is what will bring down this government. Ladies and gentlemen, go around the streets and talk to people. They are ready to bring down this government. I don't know whether it will be in 2027. I don't know whether we will not even reach there, because people are very tired. And people like Rigathi Gachagua do not understand that people are oppressed. He is trivializing this thing to be a contest between the government and the opposition. Yet both the government and the opposition are people who can afford 10 meals in a day. They can go to the best hospitals. They can take their children to the best schools. It is the hustler that is being hoodwinked that is suffering the most. I don't know what you think, but if you ask me, the day the hustlers will rise up against this government, then the prophecy of this man of God will come to pass.